I was able to do one or two questions, but due to some technical issues, it was cancelled and I had to give one more.
What advice would you give to your fellow freshers or the people watching who also want to crack such companies? What should they do to?
So I wasted a lot of my time in these things, which were not necessary to learn. I have done everything and I'm still not getting selected. I was in that phase also.
So hi everyone. Today we have a special guest on our channel. We have Aayush
Yeah.
with us. So Aayush, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah. So hi Ashish. I'm Ayush, and I'm getting the feeling of attending one more interview today.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but yeah. So I'm Ayush, and I'm from VIT Bhopal, and I'm currently working in Salesforce as an AMTS, that is
Mm-hmm.
Associate Member of Technical Staff. And I think of myself as a competitive programmer because I
Mm-hmm.
like to dabble in
Problem
new code
solver.
ideas. Yeah. Because it's like a marriage. It's arranged marriage. It started because of thinking that I will get good placement because of
Placement.
this, and
Yeah,
after a
that's how
few
every
months,
competitive programmer starts
yeah,
in our country.
yeah, and after a few
You
like
fall in love.
4 to 6 weeks, I fall. And even today, that is Sunday. Today is Sunday, and even I have got a job and very stable job. Still, I woke up at 8 today and gave my lead code contest today. So it's
Yeah.
yeah. So that was about me.
That's
Yeah,
great, man. So today we're going to learn everything about Ayush's journey of
yeah.
cracking Salesforce. So he has cracked Salesforce, that too off campus, which is a pretty good company. So tell us everything, man. Ayush, how did it get started? And first of all, tell us your interview experience with Salesforce. How was it? How was the difficulty rounds, etc.?
Okay, so my Salesforce experience is, I don't know what happened in all that time. It was just like a flurry.
Hmm.
And for me, it started in the time of Navratra that was going on in
Oh,
April. So
yeah.
I applied on Salesforce because in that time I was not being choosy. I was
Hmm.
applying almost everywhere. And the response from Salesforce came and I was invited to an online assessment,
Hmm.
and I gave the online assessment. It was okay. Like
Hmm.
there were two online assessments. One
Hmm.
was later due to some technical difficulties. It was
Hmm.
rearranged, but
Hmm.
so therefore I got the chance to give two Salesforce open interviews. Sorry,
Okay.
online assessments.
Hmm.
The first one was pretty tough.
Hmm.
Like the questions were like really good. Like lead code, if you are giving the contest in lead code, it was like 6 to 7 marks of question, like medium to hard questions.
Yeah.
And it was medium to hard questions. And yeah, I was able to do one or two questions, but due to some technical issues, it was cancelled and I had to give one more.
New,
And
yeah.
that was comparatively very easy for me, and I took almost like 10 to 15 minutes to solve it, but it was 2 hours. So yeah, many people solved it, and
Hmm.
all of these rounds are eliminatory in Salesforce.
Hmm.
After 2 days, I got the confirmation that I cleared this round,
Hmm.
and I was asked for two technical interviews.
Hmm.
One was offline and one was online, and it was scheduled after 2 days only.
Hmm.
So I gave the online interview, and after that there was an offline interview.
Hmm.
And as I was in Bangalore, it was easy for me to just go and see the office.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because that time I was working in a startup as an
Hmm.
intern. So in the first technical interview, it was pretty basic, as most of the interviews goes. I was asked a basic lead code question,
Hmm.
lead code, not lead code question, but a lead code style of question.
Hmm.
It was not an exact question, but it was derivated,
Hmm.
because almost every
Yeah.
question is derivated
Derivative.
on it. So it was a derivative question, and it was like easy to medium.
Hmm.
It was like if you optimize it, it will become medium, but if you don't optimize it, it will become easy.
Hmm.
So I gave the full optimized solution, and because I was in like I was very habituated to giving contest, and the first two questions are
Hmm.
like 6 to 7 minutes, so it was very quick for me to like complete it.
Hmm.
uh, I gave all the solutions, like uh, the brute force and the optimized and how to optimize it and code everything, and it worked fine.
As we all know, cracking a company like Salesforce is not easy in today's day and age because you need to do a lot of things. First, you need to get the interview call, and after you get the interview call, you have to go through multiple rounds of interview, which test you on your problem solving skills, on your development skills. They see what kind of project portfolio you have, and all these skills you need to get under your belt to crack a company like Salesforce or even Google. So, let me tell you an amazing platform where you can get all of these things done and check mark all of the boxes. And the platform that I'm talking about is none other than Crio. So in Crio, you have an amazing structured curriculum where they teach you everything that you require in order to crack the interview of these companies. And they have some amazing things in the course, like they have the latest tech stack that they'll be teaching you, where they have a project based learning. We'll be learning by building some industry grade projects. Apart from that, they also cover DSA so that you can cover the problem solving in the interviews. And apart from that, they even bring the opportunities to you. So you have placement support as well, with the average placement going as high as 22 LPA for Super Dream and 11 LPA for the average package. So there's a link in the description. You can go check the course out for yourself. There's also a free trial available so that you can see whether the course is suited for you or not. And now let's get back to the video.
But after that, we had a very personal discussion. Personal as in interpersonal. Like it was not as in he was the interviewer and I was the interviewee. It was like two people having a conversation, and that was the whole feeling after that point of time in the whole interview. Like we were two guys talking about technical stuffs, and in that conversation he told me a lot about Salesforce. I asked a lot about Salesforce because naively I did not go prepared as to like what actually Salesforce does. I remembered most questions like the basic stuff, just upar se. So
Yeah.
yeah. So but in depth I asked, and he also checked my basic computer science knowledge, just OS questions, DBMS questions, CN question, and it was not like question like exam questions. It was like, for example, this is an example, like why does your computer hang, and what do you do if your computer hangs, and what goes behind the scene when your computer hangs. So yeah, so you got to have some knowledge of OS, or you have to read the deadlocks and all of these,
CS
and how to
fundamentals.
CS fundamentals. So these were the type of questions, and the round robins and all those FF.
Yeah.
So I had just prepared, not now, that time I just prepared for my exams for this OS. So it was pretty easy for
Semester
me.
exams.
Yeah, semester exams. So, and after that, in the second interview, it was both a technical interview too, plus managerial round in a single interview only. And there were two interviewers. And the face to face, I prefer face to face because uh, I think it's more on a personal level, and there are many things. Just like I'm talking to you now, but you can't see how my hands are moving, my whole body language, and it matters a lot because I can express myself in a personal, like face to face basis. So that in that there was a very simple question of, it was not a DSA question, but it was a generic question, and it was worded in such a manner that you can solve it according to your own expertise. If you like databases, you can approach the question from a database perspective. You can approach the question from a system design perspective. But I approached the question from a problem solver perspective.
DSA.
I converted it into a DSA problem. So I solved it, but that it is the point. It is a very main point that I was not able to completely code it out. There was a problem in my Python code. There was a bug which was like really destroying the system, even if my approach was good. I later found out when I got home what was the problem. So even when I was not able to complete, I thought that this interview went away. Like ye to gaya. But that taught me that doing the questions is not the main thing, like solving the question or reaching the out. How you reach the outcome, or how you handle yourself, how you process the question, and how you try to solve it, that is the most major part in an interview. And this is my perspective because I have never been an interviewer. I have always been an interviewee.
Yeah.
So because we always try to reason in our mind, like what did I do, even if we do wrong, what did I do wrong, or what did I do right. So that was so basically this was my first major interview.
Interview experience.
Yeah.
So that was a very good and interesting interview experience. Like you said, right, that is one very important thing that a lot of people fail to grasp. It's not exactly that. It's not a coding contest key. You can write any code and it needs to get accepted, right? It's a
It's
human.
not a LeetCode contest or a code
Exactly.
forces contest. You do
That
not
you have
have to
to.
solve it very quickly. You have to articulate your thoughts and tell your
Hmm.
thoughts. Like I was never quiet. It was not like I was very verbose or no,
Hmm.
sorry. I was being a very water mouth, like
Ha ha ha.
blabbering things. I was just being verbose as to what I was
Hmm.
writing.
Perfect
Not that,
balance.
yeah. For example, if I'm writing for I equal to zero, or so I'm not telling that I am looping over. No, I'm just
Hmm.
telling why I'm writing this part of code. Like what is my motive behind
Hmm.
writing this part of code. And in these scenarios, coding quality also matters a lot
Hmm.
in
True.
almost every interviews. Like you, if you are writing like for I is basic, I is okay. But if you are writing x equal to zero, y equal to zero, and
Yeah.
some pt equal to zero, you have to be
Ha.
verbose in what you write.
Hmm.
So your
Proper
what,
variable
yeah,
names and all.
your code quality should be really good. So
Hmm.
that
True. True.
almost
True.
affects all the interviews.
And I've heard one thing that Salesforce has a very good level of DSA, or it is a company that focuses on DSA and is very strict about the kind of people that it selects, right? So, will you be able to tell like what are the hot topics of Salesforce that they focus on in DSA, or some topics that you came across in your interview or someone else's
So
interview that you heard?
I had a pretty basic question, like very basic arrays question,
Mm-hmm.
but it you could like it was a easy problem, so you can approach it anyway. You can even put graph and dp. Even a simple question you can make it
Yeah.
complicated, but it was a
True.
very easy question. So as for me, I did not encounter any tough question.
Hmm.
That, like, everyone gets tested on their things, like which the interviewer sees fit to test
Hmm.
them on.
True.
Like if I'm interviewing Usain Bolt, I will not
Hmm.
test him how good he runs, because I know.
Yeah.
So I'm not like comparing myself to that, but everyone is judged
Huh.
upon what they are not saying,
Hmm.
like what they are, like every hidden qualities.
Hmm.
That is my understanding of what gets asked in interviews. But as for many of my peers got asked dp plus
Hmm.
trees, and many like a varied range of questions.
Hmm.
So it is not like we can point down like these three types, these three
Yeah,
topics.
it
So
depends.
yeah, be good in dsa, not dsa, but um, get a basic knowledge of how the things works. Like
Hmm.
if you are using deck, like
Hmm.
dq in python, you should know how it really works behind the scenes.
Hmm.
Heap, how it really works. Not that these questions are asked in the interview, but these questions build up your fundamental on which you can base more of your knowledge. Like you
Hmm.
can build upon that.
True, true, true.
Yeah,
Understandable. So, for coming to a place where you could easily go through a Salesforce interview, which
yeah,
is like I said, it has very tough interviews. You need to be very good in a lot of things, like you said, CS fundamentals, DSA, and all.
yeah.
So, what was your preparation strategy or your journey of reaching to this point? Like, how did you prepare? What all you used? How was it?
So I think my journey started from 2022 September.
Hmm.
Before that, everything, like I was still working on myself, but all of those were failed attempts.
Hmm.
Like I was learning the things which were not meant to be learned. For example, I'm learning the wrong things in the wrong time. There are many
Hmm.
things which, like one time I was learning that, like every college student does, like we should learn as many programming languages as possible, like
Yeah.
Java, Python, C, and how many
Yeah.
languages. So I was in that, and because of COVID, there was no senior of me mine to tell me
Hmm.
that you don't have to do this. So I wasted a lot of my time in these things, which were not necessary to learn. It's
Hmm.
very easy to grasp if you are working on a project in Java. You can
Hmm.
easily grasp it, but learning it side and making it a main thing, that is tough. So
Hmm.
I'm getting away from the topic. So I started from doing DSA because that is the main thing everybody
Hmm.
does.
Yeah.
So I started lead coding, and from the September one day I thought like I will do this every day.
Hmm.
And from that day my heat map is forever green.
Filled. Filled.
Yeah, till now. So
Huh.
it is full green. So I'm like on my 670th consecutive day now. So
Wow.
so it's and it's not tough, like from 500 to 600 it was, I didn't even notice like 100 days went away.
Hmm.
But from 0 to 20 it is the tough. It
Hmm.
is most tough from 0 to 5.
Hmm. True.
The first 2 3 days are the toughest because you forget and you have to make yourself habituated to that. So after a while I started, like, I was not missing any of the contest because contest gives us a basic understanding of how to approach the online assessments, because they are also timed and 3 to 4 questions come. And along with that, I also kept preparing and keeping up with the latest happenings in DB, like
Hmm.
databases, and what are types of databases are there. And like, I was reading this because it interests me a lot,
Hmm.
these topics. So databases, CN, like computer networks and operating systems.
Hmm.
These are the, like, building blocks of computer science.
Yes.
So these were the topics, and apart from that, I kept working on myself, making small, very insignificant projects, which
Hmm.
helped me in learning and getting a good grasp on the tech stacks I was working on. For
Hmm.
example, I made a lot of very insignificant, very faltu projects, which from an outer perspective is nothing. It's very, like, garbage, but that taught me how to handle a
Hmm.
specific thing. So it was for my own practice.
Hmm.
So I kept making those, and finally I made a very big project
Hmm.
according to me, according to
Hmm.
my skill at that time. So I kept my resume up to date.
Hmm.
Like, I tried to idealize my resume. Like, I tried to see what will be an ideal resume for
Hmm.
me, and I tried to reach that.
Hmm.
So that was my main journey. But there comes a time in every student's life in the placements when they get depressed because
Hmm.
why am I
Not
not
getting
getting
selected.
selected? I have done everything and I'm still not getting selected. I was in that phase also, and I was, like, very heavily in that phase for 2 to 3 months. I was in my bed. I was, like, always sleeping, always lying down, looking at my phone, like, empty eyes. So it is a phase everyone goes through. And
Hmm.
after a few months, I decided no, and I just went on LinkedIn and started applying.
Hmm.
And I think the applying part, just as Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts, after scrolling quite a bit, they understand what you are trying to achieve, what you are
Hmm.
trying to see, and they show you what you are, like, what you like see. Same is LinkedIn jobs. If you keep
Hmm.
applying more and more relevant jobs start coming to you.
Hmm.
So this was a new thing that I learned. So after a while, very relevant jobs and openings were coming to me, and I
Hmm.
applied a lot of them. And I had, like, in the month of January, I gave up like 12 to 13 to 15 interviews, like
Hmm.
5 to 6 in one company only, and I cleared two basic companies, and I joined one as a intern.
Hmm.
It was a startup, and I had an amazing journey in it, and I learned so much, so that, like, I credit 50% of my credit for achieving Salesforce goes to that company, because
Hmm.
I learned a lot from the people there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned a huge amount of, because theoretical, like, once my teacher used to say that a ounce of practical is greater than tons of theory.
Hmm.
So I had tons of theory, but not a single ounce of practical. So in that, I had to manage, and I was a sole backend engineer for a
Hmm.
product. So that really uh, made me understand a lot of things, like
Hmm.
what happens in the real world, how does a product
Hmm.
works, and
Yes.
all those things, like what does our code do, how it impacts the lives of others.
Hmm.
So that was the
Correct.
thing that opened my eyes, and it gave me a clear reason why I wanted to join the big companies.
Hmm.
Like, everybody wants to join Google, everybody wants to join, like, the top
Hmm.
companies, Salesforce and
Yes.
all that. But if you ask them really why do you want to join them, everyone will be giving very, rooted answers.
Yeah.
So
Money
they
and
don't know
all.
why. But in that time, I really knew, like, why I wanted to go in those companies.
Hmm.
So this was my journey.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. That's very inspirational to see how you managed and tackled all of those things and how the working experience helped you in your further interviews in Salesforce. That's pretty amazing. So you have been also a fresher and cracked such
Yeah.
a great company as a fresher, and it's a big problem right now. You know, like market's down, a lot of recession, these things are going on, and freshers are having difficulty finding jobs. And like you said, they also want to go into good companies, but they're kind of lost, right? So what advice would you give to, your fellow freshers or the people watching who also want to crack such companies? What should they do to, do it similarly, like
Well,
how you cracked?
uh, I think that you should prepare very well for the
Hmm.
one chance you get, because I too used to think that I'm good. Like everyone thinks that they are very good, and
Hmm.
they have reached, like they have worked on themselves very much, and many of them does. Like
Hmm.
there are many of my peers are amazing developers,
Hmm. Yes.
amazing developers, like mind blowing developers, and they are on my same level. But due to their colleges or due to their some stigmas on their resumes, they are not getting any
Hmm.
leads,
Yes.
and that is very disheartening because they have all the requirements, but some stigma on their resume causes them to not be able to secure any jobs or get shortlisted.
Hmm.
So therefore I think it's a lot of luck, but
Hmm.
when the luck works in your favor, then your hard work comes to play.
Hmm.
Like no one gets the opportunity to interview for five of the top companies. They only
Hmm.
get to get the opportunity in one,
Yes.
and you have to grab that one opportunity.
Hmm.
And luckily, by the grace of God, I was able to grab that one. So you have to work on yourself such a manner that you are able to like just attack on that single opportunity you get and
Hmm.
keep applying. Don't say that this is a small company, this is a big company. Just go on, work, get some experience, because working somewhere will also open your eyes and
Hmm.
create a lot of avenues for you.
Hmm.
Like even if I was not able to like crack this, I had some path in front of me.
Hmm. Yeah.
You were not just like I was not just lost in the ocean. So
Yes.
and the recession has hit the top companies, the big
Hmm.
companies, the MNCs. But it I don't think like startups are just booming, and many of them are hiring. Like if you open LinkedIn right now, there are a lot of interns jobs out there who are
Hmm.
paying like well enough.
Yeah.
So just go in and grab that opportunity. That's what I have to say.
Hmm.
Yeah,
No, I totally agree with you. Especially the what you said about, like you only need one opportunity to clear it. You can have many failures, but if you get that one opportunity, and if like you said, once your luck gives you that opportunity, you have to make your hard work come to play. It reminds me of
yeah,
that song from Eminem. I don't know if you've heard of it. You only get one shot, one opportunity, right?
yeah,
So it's something similar to that. Okay, so I guess that covers pretty much everything about, your journey
yeah,
and how one can go on to a level of cracking such a great company. So thanks a lot, Ayush, for coming on my channel, sharing your entire journey with me
yeah,
and my subscribers. I hope it'll help a lot of students. So again, thank you.
yeah. Thanks, Ashish.